TRX is an easy sell. The TRX is so compelling, we wanted to get some seat time with the truck on our own turf. So we borrowed a 2022 model year TRX, $91,725, to find out how it performs when subjected to our usual test drive schedule on the streets of LA and in the trails up at Hungry Valley SVRA in Gorman, CA. Not long ago, we spent time with a 2021 Ford Raptor on 37-inch tires. So we wondered, is the TRX really still the truck to beat? With memories of that red Raptor seared in our skull, we fired up that high-strung supercharged Hellcat V8 and hit the dirt. The hardware. One of the most interesting things about the Ram TRX is how little the truck shares with a standard issue 1500 beneath the skin. Ram says 75% of the chassis system is unique compared to other light-duty Rams. The frame itself is upgauged, and there are additional reinforcements everywhere. It's so different that the wheelbase is slightly altered too, less than an inch, just to make sure those big tires can fully stuff into the fenders. And speaking of fenders, like its archrival at Ford, the TRX has massively blistered sheet metal to cover the tires and widen track. After all, the TRX is a full 8 inches wider than a normal Ram 1500. These fenders look a little boxier compared to the ones on the Raptor, and thanks to that massive hood scoop, gives the TRX a menacing maw. And that scoop not only helps feed the big V8, but it has serious dirt filtering capability. No surprise that the TRX's front and rear suspension systems are key to its performance. Up front, there are new forged upper and lower A-arms that provide 13 inches of wheel travel. Overall, the suspension is 3 inches wider and provides a 2-inch lift over a Ram 1500. The TRX-specific half shafts use a sliding design so that they can accommodate the extreme angles of wheel travel. Damping is handled by Bilstein's new 2.6-inch Blackhawk E2 active dampers that changes characteristics based upon the mode selected in the cab. The shocks can modify tuning for compression and rebound throughout the entire suspension stroke. The front diff is the same 8.5-inch open unit found in other Ram 1500s, so the front axle relies upon brake-based traction control to limit tire slip. To slow this monster down, the TRX has giant 15-inch discs at each corner. In the rear, the Ram's 5-link coil-sprung suspension gets a thorough makeover as well. The links are longer and have TRX-specific mounts compared to a normal 1500. From maximum bump to droop, the suspension has 14 inches of movement. The TRX has the same Bilstein dampers here plus an additional one on top of the axle to help control axle rep. The Bilsteins have a built-in system that acts like a bump stop of sorts with 3 zones of bottom-out control. The rear axle is unique in the 4x4 industry. It is a special heavy-duty full-floating Dana 60 with a 10-inch ring gear and an electronic locking differential. It also comes loaded with rather tame 3.55:1 gears. Imagine how hard this beast would launch with 4.10:1s. The gears spin 18 by 9-inch wheels wrapped with 315/65 R18 Goodyear Wrangler Territory tires. The heart of the TRX is under the hood. And what lies beneath that scooped hood is unlike any engine in any other pickup. It's easily the most potent truck engine ever offered. The 6.2-liter supercharged V8, otherwise known as the Hellcat, powers many impressive Dodge cars and SUVs like the Challenger, Charger, and Durango. Here this Hellcat makes 702 horsepower at 6,100 RPM and 650 lb-ft of torque at 4,800 RPM. It comes hooked to an 8-speed automatic and is channeled through a 2-speed BorgWarner 48-13 transfer case with 2.64:1 low range. But here's the unique thing, this truck is all-wheel drive, all the time. That's right, there is no 2WD mode. Just street-friendly all-wheel drive that can vary torque between the front and rear axle. In auto mode the split is 40:60, as well as a choice of high range and low range with a traditional 50:50 torque split. As much as we'd like to rip some smoky tire burnouts in the TRX, and burnouts would be way easy, all-wheel drive has two benefits. It makes sure the power is turned into traction, and it keeps the stress levels lower on those drivetrain components. When it comes to flex and clearance, how does the TRX stack up against its rival, the Raptor? Well, that depends upon which Raptor you're testing. Our buddy Dan Edmonds, https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=JCXVMDMO1S0, ramped a TRX and found it to score an RTI of 602 on his ramp. For Wheeler tested a 35-inch tire Raptor, https://www.motortrend.com/reviews/2021-4-f-150-truck-of-the-year, and it flexed slightly better at 617. But that's so close, it's pretty much a wash when it comes to real-world articulation. However, if you go for the 37-inch tire Raptor, which limits some of that suspension movement to keep those big tires out of the fenders, it will flex less. Edmonds found the Raptor with 37s ramped to 537, https://www.youtube.com/watch?v=6VCJKYS04RI. We measured a foot of clearance under the front diff and 10.5 inches under the rear axle of the TRX. The 37-inch tire Raptor we last tested had about 2 inches more clearance up front and about a half inch better in the rear. The TRX has an approach angle of 30 degrees, a departure angle of 23.5 degrees, and a breakover angle of 21.9 degrees. The last Raptor we tested, with 37-inch tires, had an approach angle of 33.1 degrees, departure angle of 24.9 degrees, breakover of 24.4 degrees, all better numbers. The TRX can handle a payload of 1,300 pounds and tow an 8,100 pounds trailer. And those specs are nearly the same for the Raptor. If there's another 4x4 that's more fun to drive on the street than this one, we haven't driven it. Yes, the Wrangler 392 clocks in with a close second. But nothing can match the thrust or the thrill of this Ram. It's just plain lunacy. Car and driver proved just how quick these trucks can be, hitting 60 miles per hour in 3.7 seconds and covering the 1/4 mile in 12.3 seconds. Those are sports car numbers to be sure. And the accompanying supercharger whine mix with the wild cracks, pops and growls from the exhaust is a soundtrack every truck fan can enjoy. But the engine isn't even the best part. It's the suspension. The TRX's suspension is velvety smooth on any road surface. Our notes on ride quality said, "Better than Raptor," multiple times. The Ram and Bilstein engineers have really nailed the calibrations here. And even though the ride is soft, it doesn't feel ponderous on the street. The truck doesn't wallow around on its suspension when you hit a corner either, especially in sport mode, which really cinches down the suspension. That mode also wakes up the transmission with more aggressive shifts and adds some heft to the steering. If this were our truck, we'd drive it in sport mode all day long. Ram offers one of the best full-size pickup interiors, period. And because our TRX was loaded with options, it came with all the goodies inside, including leather ventilated seats. Our truck also featured an upgraded console with nicer materials, including a suede-like covering as well as upscale dash padding. The 12-inch Uconnect display is standard here and works flawlessly. If you're looking for a flashy interior with splashes of bright colors and over-the-top logos, this is not your truck. The TRX's interior is handsome and subtle. There are a few TRX badges around the cabin, but for the most part, the mood is understated and cool. On the freeway, the TRX's cushy ride quality continues. And as long as you don't dig too deep into the throttle, the Ram is fairly quiet too. The torque reserves here are unlike anything we've experienced in a light-duty truck. The TRX just absolutely cooks with such little effort. On most highways it will loaf along at 1,600 RPM at 70 miles per hour. And the torque is there to propel the Ram up most grades without the need to downshift. But what's really fun is to lay into the throttle here and see the speedometer climb like nothing else. This truck just pulls so hard, it's no surprise the top speed had to be governed at 118 miles per hour. The TRX would probably pull all the way to 150 miles per hour. As one might expect, the TRX guzzles fuel at an alarming rate. The EPA rates the TRX at 10 miles per gallon in the city and 14 miles per gallon on the highway. In our testing we saw 9.8 miles per gallon, which is worse than the last Raptor we tested, 13.8 miles per gallon. So, be prepared for all that fun to put a dent in your wallet at the pump. On the trail. Our first impression of the TRX in the dirt? This is one of those few machines that allow you to drive straight from the pavement to some fairly challenging off-road obstacles without touching a button or moving a lever. A TRX in its default all-wheel drive mode is insanely good off-road. The suspension's impressive articulation and supple tuning keep the tires in contact with the trail. And thanks to the beastly motor, the TRX can tackle events that would stop most other stock 4X4S, even in low range. Unlike some modern four-wheel drive vehicles, the TRX's transfer case buttons are easy to find and work quickly. Similarly, the TRX's drive modes, Auto, Sport, Tow, Custom, Mud/Sand, Rock and Baja, can be accessed by a button or on the infotainment screen. There's enough space to show exactly what changes when you swap modes. And those large virtual buttons on the screen are perfectly suited to toggling between modes while bouncing around off-road. In Rock mode, with a transfer case and low, the TRX makes short work of moderate trail obstacles. Just lock that rear axle, and the Dodge can creep through deep gullies and larger moguls without breaking a sweat. The deep torque reserves of the supercharged V8 allow the TRX to crawl as if it had another set of low-range gears. The roughest sections that max out articulation at both ends require the traction control to help up front to limit wheel spin. And it does an admirable job. But it would be helpful to have a limited slip like the Raptor or a true locker. There were several instances where we attempted to climb an obstacle and the climbing tire would spin first, causing us to have to readjust our line. On our standard test hill, the TRX had plenty of traction to crawl to the top without drama. We had the truck in Rock mode with the rear end locked, and the TRX could claw its way up with just a bit of tire spin from the front end. On some less rugged climbs, we could dig deeper into the power band and let the RPMs fly. Boy, is this truck fun. We could imagine the TRX would absolutely dominate a muddy Midwest hill climb. The TRX is certainly adept at crawling, but it's naturally in the higher speed terrain that this beast truly shines. You can tackle the steepest motocross-style whoops at around 20 miles per hour. Most of the 4X4S we test here can barely make it into the teens. Overall, the TRX felt better suited to this punishment than the Raptor we last tested. The damping control is simply exquisite. We never felt a harsh bottom out. On smaller, more spaced out bumps, the TRX simply eats them alive. But the best part about it is that the ride and handling feels so controlled. Baja mode is perfectly calibrated. You can pile on the kind of speed that makes you ask yourself, do I need a roll cage here? The answer is probably. If we owned one of these trucks, we'd be tempted to cage it. Deep sand is no match for the TRX. Just make sure you disable the stability control, and you can dive right in with the truck in auto mode. Because the TRX is full-time all-wheel drive, there's no loss of traction driving from street to sand. But for the most fun, you're going to want to shift into Baja mode. It absolutely transforms the experience. The TRX becomes a point-and-shoot sand weapon. Nothing you can buy off the showroom floor can accelerate out of a deep sand hole like the TRX. It's absolutely bonkers. It pulls so hard in sand that it feels like a modified vehicle. Need a pickup to take to the dunes on a regular basis? This is it. On the rough road section of the park, the TRX wasn't as comfortable as we would have imagined. On this day, the track was much more chewed up than it normally is. So we had to keep the speeds down somewhat. We could feel the body and chassis shaking a bit as we touched 35 miles per hour. But on this day on that road, a normal 4x4 would be struggling at 20 miles per hour. So the TRX does allow more speed on really choppy terrain than any other rig we've tested. And on the milder dirt roads, the TRX just melts the washboards. The bottom line. If we had a choice of any new truck to use for off-road fun, the TRX would absolutely be that truck. It's not only good at everything from a technical standpoint, but it's also more entertaining than any other 4x4 when it comes to high-speed four-wheeling. Okay, our test truck does cost $91,725. And that's a lot to spend on any 4x4. If you could find one, a base TRX is $72,390, which strikes us as a deal. And that's especially true considering when the last Raptor we tested cost $82,000 and change. The TRX feels like it should be more expensive than the Raptor largely because it just doesn't have the motor to compete. Yet. But the Raptor is coming. And as soon as we know more, we'll let you know. Hello, welcome to TB Car Reviews channel. 2023 GMC Sierra 1500. Overview. Full-size pickups are the top 3 best-selling vehicles in the U.S., and the GMC Sierra 1500 repurposes the guts of its mechanical twin, the Chevy Silverado, in an attempt to compete in the upscale side of the segment. Its massive configurability is your friend. The Sierra 1500 is available as a single cab, double cab, or 4-door crew cab with beds ranging from 5.8 to 8.2 feet in length. Engine options include a 310 horsepower turbo 4-cylinder, a Duramax turbo diesel with 460 pound-feet of torque, a 355 horsepower 5.3-liter V8, and a 420 horsepower 6.2-liter V8 with as much torque as the oil burner. The Sierra 1500 has the third highest conventional towing capacity of all half-ton pickups, with a max rating of 13,200 pounds. Go ahead, tow that 747. While the Sierra's available 13.4-inch touchscreen is impressive, the rest of its interior, unfortunately, doesn't match the richer feel of the top-spec Ram 1500's cabin in terms of materials or quality of assembly. What's new for 2023? GMC UPS the Sierra 1500's off-road capability for 2023 with a new AT4X80 edition which features equipment from the folks at American Expedition Vehicles. This dedicated dirt-purpose vehicle gets steel front and rear bumpers with recovery points, as well as a winch up front. Additional steel skid plates protect the underside of the front end, the steering components, the transfer case, the fuel tank, and the rear differential. The AT4X80 edition gets gloss black 18-inch AV Salta wheels wrapped in 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Territory MT tires. The AT4X80 edition is an additional package available only on the off-road focused version of the AT4X trim that was added for 2022. We like the Sierra Elevation trim level because it occupies a middle ground in terms of price, but comes with a desirable appearance package that looks cool. You'll also have to select between a few different cab configurations and bed lengths depending on what fits your needs. All-wheel drive is available at an extra cost should you require it. Engine, transmission, and performance. The Sierra is available with 4 different engines, 2 different transmissions, and rear or all-wheel drive. The base setup is a turbocharged 2.7-liter 4-cylinder that makes 310 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. It pairs with an 8-speed automatic transmission. There are 2 V8 options, a 355 horsepower 5.3-liter and a 420 horsepower 6.2-liter. A torque-rich diesel 6-cylinder generates 460 pound-feet. All 3 engines hook up to a 10-speed automatic. At our test track, a loaded Denali Ultimate model with the 6.2-liter V8 hit 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds. The Sierra 1500 also can be had with adaptive dampers and wheels as large as 22 inches. While the Sierra lacks the extreme off-road abilities of the high-flying Ford F-150 Raptor, it does offer 2 dedicated off-road variants. The rugged AT4 model boasts a 2.0-inch suspension lift and other legitimate equipment. The AT4X shares exclusive features with the Silverado ZR2, including advanced spool valve dampers, electronic locking front and rear diffs, extra skid plates, and gnarly off-road tires mounted on black 18-inch wheels. An AT4X80 package adds even more serious off-road accessories, like a steel front bumper with a winch, 18-inch wheels, and steel rock sliders. Sierra has a rougher ride than the Ram 1500, but it still handles remarkably well thanks to responsive steering and restrained body roll. Towing and payload capacity. The half-ton GMC pickup can tow up to 13,200 pounds and support a payload up to 2,240 pounds when properly equipped. Fuel economy and real-world MPG. The Sierra 1500 has several different powertrain combinations, which means its fuel economy ratings vary. Those most concerned with fuel efficiency should entertain the optional diesel engine, which is rated up to 23 miles per gallon city and 30 miles per gallon highway. However, most Sierras will be packing the 6.2-liter V8 that comes standard with every Denali model. It's estimated to earn up to 15 miles per gallon city and 20 miles per gallon highway when paired with all-wheel drive. The Sierra 1500 Denali we tested achieved 18 miles per gallon in our real-world highway test. For more information about the Sierra's fuel economy, visit the EPA's website. Interior, comfort, and cargo. Inside, the Sierra is designed with the driver in mind. The controls are all easy to reach, and the quality of the materials generally increases with the trim levels. Starting on the SLE, a 12.3-inch digital instrument panel becomes standard. Spending big on the upper trims unlocks even more desirable features, including a heads-up display and a power-adjustable steering column. The Denali Ultimate is where things get seriously upscale thanks to OpenPort with trim and a surplus of leather-covered surfaces. The front seats also feature 16-way power adjustments as well as massage functions. Interior cubby storage is more than adequate for storing all manner of small items and stuff. While GMC doesn't offer any particularly innovative storage features, the Sierra 1500 can be had with a trick tailgate that has multiple configurations. There's also a class-exclusive carbon fiber reinforced cargo bed that is lighter and supposedly stronger than steel. Infotainment and connectivity. Most Sierra 1500s feature a 13.4-inch touchscreen through which the truck's infotainment system runs. This larger screen includes wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. It also has built-in Google software that allows users to access an app store, maps, and a voice assistant. Other available features include a 12-speaker Bose audio system, wireless phone charging, and additional power points. Safety and driver assistance features. Overall safety rating NHTSA. View crash test results. The half-ton Sierra has a host of standard driver assistance technology. It's also available with nifty off-road assists, such as a terrain mode that allows one-pedal driving in low-speed situations. The GMC can be fitted with a multi-camera system that even has views where the driver can virtually see through a trailer if they're pulling one. The Denali can be equipped with GM Super Cruise hands-free driving tech, which operates on a vast network of roads across the country, and can even be put to use with a trailer attached. However, it'll only change lanes on its own if there's nothing hooked up to the truck. For more information about the Sierra's crash test results, visit the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, and Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, IHS, websites. Key safety features include standard forward collision warning and automated emergency braking, standard lane departure warning and lane keeping assist, standard blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, warranty and maintenance coverage. GMC provides a competitive warranty plan that can't match the Nissan Titan's coverage, but does include one complimentary scheduled maintenance visit. Limited warranty covers 3 years, or 36,000 miles. Powertrain warranty covers 5 years, or 60,000 miles. Complimentary maintenance is covered for the first visit.
Welcome to TB Car Reviews channel. 2022 Tesla Model 3 Overview. With a near-ideal blend of performance, driving range, and accessible pricing, the 2022 Tesla Model 3 is an electric vehicle that lives up to the hype. It's fast, especially the performance trim, and it's agile, which means the Model 3 is an EV that driving enthusiasts like us can get behind. We even named it to our 2022 Editor's Choice list. Driving range is an impressive 358 miles per charge on the mid-level long-range trim, so it's not necessary to charge the Model 3 every day. Its attractive entry price doesn't unlock the Model 3's full potential, though, and its fit and finish doesn't quite match alternatives such as the Chevy Bolt and Ford Mustang Mach-E. Still, there's not a more inexpensive way to park one of Tesla's groundbreaking EVs in your driveway. What's new for 2022? Last year's standard range model has been renamed rear-wheel drive and given a new kind of battery pack that uses lithium iron phosphate instead of nickel cobalt aluminum. Despite being less energy dense than the previous battery pack, estimated range for this entry-level model has increased to 272 miles. The long-range trim also sees a slight uptick in its estimated driving range this year, to 358 miles per charge. The base rear-wheel drive model is a good value, but its 272 miles of estimated driving range may not be enough to eliminate range anxiety for some drivers. We'd recommend the long-range model that offers an estimated 358 miles of driving per charge. All Model 3s come standard with heated front seats, navigation, and Tesla's Autopilot semi-autonomous driving system. EV motor, power, and performance. As with most EVs, the Model 3 gains speed smoothly and almost silently, with the electric motor providing strong power from a stop. And it's fast, extremely so in some trims. The rear-wheel drive long-range model we tested sprinted from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.1 seconds. The Model 3 performance rockets to 60 miles per hour in just 3.5 seconds, 0.5 seconds faster than our long-term Model 3 long-range. Like all Teslas, the Model 3 carries its battery under the floor, resulting in a low center of gravity. This helps it change direction crisply and feel planted and stable in corners. The steering is accurate and well-weighted, with 3 different settings that adjust the level of steering effort. The ride is firm without being harsh, without the noise of a gas-powered engine. However, you do hear plenty of noise inside the cabin as the tires thwack and thrum over pavement imperfections. Range, charging, and battery life. 3 distinct Model 3 trims are offered, each with a different estimated driving range. The base rear-wheel drive model is the most affordable, with a claimed range of 272 miles. Upgrading to the long-range or performance models increased the Model 3's estimated range to 315 miles for the performance and an impressive 358 for the long range. Of course, this distance isn't easy to achieve, as we found in our long-term long-range Model 3 test vehicle. The Model 3 offers several different options for charging: Tesla's network of fast charging stations called superchargers, adapters for DC public charging stations, 240 and 120-volt outlets, and a home charging station. Fuel economy and real-world MPGO. The various versions of the Model 3 are rated between 113 mpg and 141 mpg by the EPA. Our test vehicle, however, managed only 84 mpg when we took it on our 75 miles per hour highway fuel economy test. The Model 3 comes standard with aluminum wheels that are covered by plastic aerodynamic hubcaps. We wanted to know how much impact those hubcaps have on the car's driving range, so we tested it and were surprised to find that they helped more than expected. For more information about the Model 3's fuel economy, visit the EPA's website. Interior, comfort, and cargo. We're not exaggerating when we say that the Tesla Model 3 has an interior unlike any other car on the market today. It's shockingly simple inside, with nearly everything controlled by the monolithic touchscreen in the center of the dashboard. The Tesla's low, flat floor makes for a spacious and airy feel inside. The front seats are supportive and comfortable, but the rear seats are cramped and uncomfortable. Don't expect adults to be able to spend time in them. Folding the 60-40 split folding rear seats is simple and expands the trunk considerably. The Model 3 seat backs fold flat, too, providing an uninterrupted cargo floor for hauling larger items. With the rear seats folded, the Model 3 provides enough room for 15 carry-on suitcases. There are also generously sized bins and cubbies throughout the cabin. Infotainment and connectivity. Navigation, Bluetooth, and USB connectivity are standard, but the Model 3 is oddly not available with AM radio or Sirius XM satellite radio. Several internet streaming radio options are standard. It also can't be equipped with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. To make charging station layovers more bearable, the Model 3 offers plenty of entertainment options on its central display, including Netflix, YouTube, and a host of arcade games. Safety and driver assistance features. Overall safety rating, NHTSA. View crash test results. Although we question whether the name autopilot might be misleading, the driver assist system has one of the best feature sets in the industry, with smooth operation and impressive capabilities such as automatic lane changes. For more information about the Model 3's crash test results, visit the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, and Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, IIHS, websites. Key safety features include standard automated emergency braking, standard lane departure warning, standard adaptive cruise control, warranty and maintenance coverage. Tesla's overall warranty coverage is among the longest in the EV segment, but it's disappointing that the coverage doesn't include corrosion protection. The long-range model includes an additional 20,000 miles on the coverage period of its battery and drive components. Limited warranty covers 4 years or 50,000 miles. Powertrain warranty covers 8 years or 100,000 miles. No complimentary scheduled maintenance. Hello, welcome to YTB Car Reviews channel. Living with the McLaren 720S. Our long-term fleet gains the doors of a billionaire, and 530 kilowatts. Say hello to the most thrilling long-termer in motor history, the McLaren 720S. Woking's Super Series darling has joined our fleet of cars, but don't think we'll be giving the supercar kitty glove treatment. We intend to treat the 530 kilowatts per 770 Newton meters, $500,000 beast like we would any other long-termer. Big drives, daily use, spirited excursions, it's all part of the remit. The 720S sits in an interesting place in McLaren's lineup. It is, and will remain for the time being, the most powerful series production car you can buy from the British brand. Limited run specials like the Longtails, Senna and Speedtail will sit above it, while the electrified V6 Artura will sit ever so slightly below when it finally arrives. Other than the Grand Touring GT, that's it for McLaren's rationalized lineup. First revealed in 2017, the supercar game has moved on significantly since the 720S first peeked its sunken eye sockets beyond the curtain at the Geneva Motor Show. Can it stack up against its more modern supercar rivals in 2022? It certainly fills the brief in terms of monetary exclusivity. McLaren are more than happy to tell us exactly what options are fitted to our test car, but remain strangely coy about the exact price of fitting them to the car. Our best guide is that the dealer box ticking would come in around $200,000. That's on top of the $489,900 sticker and on-roads. Though, if you must ask what the cost of the options are, it's fair to say they don't fall within your budget. For the curious, our McLaren comes fitted with the Performance Plus Pack, 9 separate exterior carbon fiber items, which will set you back roughly $100,000 alone: sports exhaust, soft closed doors, diamond cut wheels, carbon ceramic brakes, tire pressure monitoring system, 360-degree parking camera, front nose lift, and a printed owner's manual. I share this in the name of transparency, but it'd be reductionist to focus on the deep fiduciary well that is McLaren's special operations extras that are nice-to-haves on top of the 720S stunning core ability. Of the options fitted, it's only the nose lift that we'd recommend be a mandatory addition. There's substantial front overhang on the 720S, and without it most urban driveways would be inaccessible unless you wanted finely graded carbon fiber left on the street. My nerves barely survived a tour of an underground car park underneath my local grocer. Despite all the pretense and potency contained beneath its skin, the 720S is remarkably approachable day-to-day if you avoid tight parking caverns. You sit quite far forward, giving you the sensation of being strapped into the front cabin of an alien spaceship. We aren't going to lie to you and claim the interior of the 720S is spacious, but McLaren has been clever with the space that is available. There are 2 usable cup holders, a tray for your phone, wallet, and keys, that can contain these items even under heavy acceleration loads, an appropriately sized center console, 2 additional hidden compartments in the doors, and a fairly large parcel shelf behind the seats. That's not including the surprisingly deep front luggage area totaling 150 liters, or to give some real-world context, enough space for 2 people's carry-on luggage. Nice, but a GT this is not. McLaren still offers the imaginatively named GT for those wanting touring ability. The biggest cork-turn gripe that has appeared on the daily commute is pedal placement, which caters heavily to left-foot braking on track. My size 11 feet mean that with certain shoes, when I have my left foot placed on the rest plate to the far side of the footwell, I can only have part of my right foot on the brake pedal. To get proper coverage of the brake, I need to pull my left foot back to me and place it flat on the floor to allow enough space for my right foot. Adapt to a 2-foot driving style and this issue withers away. So far the most surprising element to the 720S has been just how damn well it rides. The hydraulically interlinked dampers allow McLaren to design the car without anti-roll bars, meaning each wheel deals with bumps and imperfections entirely independently. A drive in a Fats Kona N drove home exactly how well judged the ride quality of the McLaren is. This is a high-end supercar with mind-warping levels of performance and body control that'd make Porsche engineers intrigued, while still riding better than some family-focused SUVs. Though to get the best out of the system you need to activate it by pressing a center console-mounted button. Without doing so feels like the car is riding on house bricks instead of actual springs. That is just one small part of the slightly lengthy startup process for the McLaren. It goes something like this. Foot on brake, press start, wait for engine to properly fire, activate suspension and powertrain modes, raise nose for driveway, select drive, release handbrake, and then you are good to roll. You feel like an astronaut completing pre-flight checks as you flick switches spread around the cabin, waiting for the appropriate chimes and dings to confirm that everything is cleared for launch. When you do hit the open road, the McLaren provides you with a comprehensive rewiring of what you thought possible. Even initial interactions with the 4.0-liter twin-turbo flat-plane crank V8, codename M840T, is enough to make you abundantly aware of the unit's tarmac-ripping potential. Even in its tamest settings, throttle response and progression is sharp, the car happy to leap forward on your command. Press toward the firewall, and you need to have your wits about you. 530 kilowatts and 770 newton meters is fed through an open differential to the rear wheels exclusively. Under heavy acceleration, the 720S will squirm and shake at the rear before transposing everything ahead of you much, much closer at a rapid rate. Stay tuned next month for a deeper dynamic inspection, but already the price you pay for all that power is abundantly clear. The M840T doesn't so much drink fuel as chug it, just peep our fuel figures as proof. Genuine and nuanced impressions of the McLaren's nature can be hard to parse from its outrageous extremes. The 720S is a case study in shock and awe. From its visual presence to its power delivery, Woking's creation asserts its dominance with an overwhelming sensory overload. Weather the initial barrage though, and the intricate layers of complexity begin to be revealed. Criticism of the 720S that claim it to be characterless are muddied and short-sighted. It's early days, but the 720S is as defining of the supercar genre in 2022 as it was when it arrived 5 years ago. In our next installment, the leash is removed and the 720S is given room to truly stretch its legs. Month 2, spoiler warning. You didn't think we'd book Phillip Island and not bring the 720S, did you? By all accounts, I should have been ready to pull up stumps. It was day 4 of this year's Bumper Performance Car of the Year testing, and I'd just spent the last 7 hours putting our entire 18-car field through their paces at Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. Track testing that many vehicles is a mammoth task in its own right, but adding in intermittent rain showers, suicidal Cape Barren geese, and the mental workout of keeping on top of the logistics required to keep the show running smoothly meant I was one missed caffeine injection from becoming a standing corpse. The rest of the judging panel had removed their helmets for the last time, but my work wasn't done yet. Car number 19 for the day demanded its pound of flesh, and I was more than willing to provide. It wasn't a contender for either of this year's awards, but our McLaren 720S long-term tester. Things were about to get very, very fast. While no longer a possible entrant for Australia's premier performance car award, we weren't going to let an opportunity to have the 720S tag along for the final days of testing slide. If Phillip Island was a daunting plank above the ocean for our Pcati and Scotty contenders, the 720S was the golden-toothed pirate telling them to start walking. Not so much a wild card, but a 530 kilowatts measuring stick that we promptly used to beat the field into submission with. Before I wrap my hands around the svelte Alcantara-clad steering wheel, the indomitable Warren Luff slides over the carbon sills and we strap timing gear to the windscreen. Of the 18-car combined Pcati and Scotty contenders, only one was quicker than the 720S around Phillip Island. No prizes for correctly guessing it would be the Porsche 911 GT3. Less than a second separate the two, with Luff's best time in the McLaren being a 1 minute and 40.19 seconds, compared to his Pcati leading 1 minute and 39.74 seconds benchmark set at the helm of the GT3. However, unlike the Porsche, which focuses heavily on trackability, the 720S is a road car first and foremost. An incredibly dramatic, powerful, and capable road car, yes, but we wouldn't call it a track toy by any stretch. The more natural rival for the 720S at Pcati was the $498,665, 470 kilowatts per 600 Newton meters 5.2-liter naturally aspirated V10-powered Lamborghini Huracan Fluo capsule. The Italian costs just $8,765 more, practically pocket change in the $500,000 price bracket, is down 60 kilowatts and 170 Newton meters compared to the heavily turbocharged V8 McLaren, but uses an extra pair of driven wheels. Both the Huracan and 720S came equipped with Pirelli P0 tires that, frankly, aren't up to the task of providing adequate grip for the amount of speed these vehicles can pile on in short order. There is nowhere to hide for the Huracan, which is just a tenth shy of being 3 full seconds behind the 720S over a 4.4 kilometers lap. There's no amount of excess Stedler highlighter paint that'll cover that gap. Watching Luff's flying laps is an experience akin to seeing a low-flying fighter jet buzz a tower. You see the McLaren before you hear it, but the once distant speck of white is suddenly atop you with a delayed burst of sound that is much a mix of air displacement as it is angry combustion. Approaching a 278 km/h Vmax at the end of the front straight, it sounds like the air itself is being torn asunder as the 720S passes. There are no theatrics by design, with the shock factor coming from raw presence and speed alone. Warren Luff is not a man easily challenged by modern road cars, but the wide-eyed stare upon returning to the pits was telling of the 720S capabilities. More so was his claim that this is the first road car he's driven that has the same cutthroat personality of a racing car. Get it wrong and it'll bite. I think of this as I remember the fact that there are no small accidents at a circuit as fast as Phillip Island. Instead of disaster, I experience an adrenaline high that I'm yet to come down from. Such is the level of the 720S firepower that it often struggles to deploy it appropriately. At the exit of the last turn on my first flying lap, I thought something had gone awry with the car. I was applying throttle progressively, but it felt like the engine wasn't building boost. A traction control light that was fixed alight from apex all the way down the first third of the straight singled out traction as the true culprit. Patience is a virtue in the 720S, as I had to wait longer to get on the throttle than any other car on the day, and apply it deftly to avoid unwanted wheel spin, which you'll still encounter with all systems on. A cheeky look at the speedo confirmed I was exiting the last corner slower than I did in either the GT3 or Huracan, but had a nearly 10 km/h advantage come the braking zone for turn 1. The greatest criticism that can be leveled at the 720S on track is focused entirely on the front tires. McLaren's choice of 245 section rubber for the front end leaves the 720S shortchanged. Through the seriously fast corners, where you need confidence in the front axle the most, I was left wanting. Thankfully, steering feel and feedback is superb. Being a hydraulic steering system, every texture of the circuit surface was transposed directly into my fingertips, making me consistently aware of the waning grip levels mid-corner. Still, the early signs of understeer aren't something you want to encounter at 200 km/h. A more aggressive Corsa compound is available as a no-cost option. Take it. You won't be making a meaningful sacrifice in daily noise and gaining a significant performance benefit in return. The 720S is a car that challenges you instead of coddling. It demands your respect and talent. But that's the point. This isn't a supercar you can get into half-arse and still go quickly. Given the opportunity to spend an entire day on Australia's fastest permanent circuit with Luffy's tutelage and the choice between a GT3 and 720S, it'd be another tally in the win column for England for me. Yes, even in the hands of a professional it's not as quick as the Porsche, and when both are road registered the McLaren would command almost double the price. But there's more to learn from its bristles, a skill to develop at every corner. The 720S provides a driving test with ever-present consequences, demanding an elevation of your skills. Many will prefer the Huracan's styling and soundtrack, but there's something about the 720S, and its permanent specter of consequence, that's simultaneously scary yet hard to resist. Modern supercars are derided for being too friendly, protecting ham-fisted pilots with a thick electronic support network of systems designed to flatter egos.